Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me are.
Wolf.
And Tauriel.
And today we are back once again with some good omens, which means we are talking about the beloved show, not a crappy fan game. I'm not sure if anyone in this call is going to get that joke, but I don't care. So, good
No, I
Omens
didn't.
it's for the better, trust me. Trust me, it's for the
Okay.
better. So, anywho, we talked about Good Omens season 1 last week, and then completely out of nowhere, as we were preparing to do Good Omens season 2, Netflix were like, "Hey, Dragon Prince season 5 is out." And then I kind of forgot about Good Omens for a few days, and then when it ended, I'm like, "Oh right, Good Omens season 2 comes out this weekend," and now we're here.
All I have to say to that is, wait, what?
Oh, you don't know?
No,
Okay,
I didn't.
I don't watch that.
We'll talk about that next week then. So,
Great.
anyway, I can't believe you didn't know about this Wolf, but okay, that's
Completely.
for later.
They stealth released that one, but anyways, yeah, Good Omens season 2.
Yeah, so Good Omens season 2 is out. We've watched it. It's available on Amazon Prime for you to enjoy. Just to kind of recap, you can listen to our thoughts about season 1 in the previous episode, but overall, we all liked season 1. We think it's a really good show. We enjoyed it. Of course, Aziraphale and Crowley are amazing, and yeah, it was overall a really good time. And now here we are with the second season, which for the longest time was kind of like, will it happen? Won't it happen? People didn't really know. And
I knew. I knew
no,
from 4 years ago that was going to happen at one point. Because
well,
for those of you who
see,
don't know, the first season was released 4 years ago. Yes, that's a long
yes.
time, I know.
Yeah. But the thing is that what I mean is, in terms of official announcement, this was announced like 2 years ago, if I remember.
Yep.
And yeah, so the fact that it took 2 years to even announce was like, But here we are now. Good Omens season 2 is a reality, and if you're new to this podcast, then first of all, welcome. Great to have you here. But the way we walk is that we're gonna talk a bit non-spoilery, just share quick non-spoilery thought. And when we're about to go into spoilers, we'll let you know, because this is a new season. Like, it's not even, I don't think it's even 2 days old by the time we record this. Maybe it's 3 days. So that will be all time to close the video, go watch it, come back, because we're spoiling this thing rotten. So, non-spoilery first. I think this season was okay. There are definitely a lot of stuff about it that I liked. There are a lot of stuff about it that I think carries over from season 1 and carries over really well. I think the plot is overall decent, but it's a bit disjointed. And in some cases, some stuff I believe could have been cut. And I've seen the claim around that the people say, "Oh, it's like a fan fiction in the best way possible," but like, no, like some of those felt like fan fiction and not in a good way. But overall, a worthy successor to season 1, in my opinion. Tauriel,
I'm
what do
going to
you?
kill I'm going to kill you for that.
All right then, I'm ready.
He's used to it.
So I have the perfect comparison for season 2.
All
Hear
right.
me out.
Yes.
Just imagine you go outside, you take a stroll through the park, you go buy an ice cream, and then you sit on a bench and eat it and enjoy the beautiful sunset and the ducks and swans on the lake. And then a fucking tank falls from the sky and breaks all your bones. That's how I would describe season 2 of Good Omens.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So is it a good or a bad thing?
Yeah, we have to.
Yes,
Is that a good
this
tank or a
is-
bad tank?
This is
What
the
I mean
first
is that-
show.
what I meant is that, are you feeling positive about this season or not?
Yeah, I
Okay,
assume so.
let
Yeah.
me explain myself because I think that was a bit too vague. I meant as so this show emotionally destroyed me in the
Okay.
best way possible because it's the first show to do this since I think 2020 when my favorite show of all time ended.
Hmm.
And that's a good thing. I missed being emotionally destroyed.
Fair enough. If you don't mind, I'm going to use this quote in any conversation without context. Wolf, what do you think?
I really enjoyed this season. I thought, I will disagree with you a little bit. I thought this was a really good step up. I went into this one more iffy because when we talked about how they were replacing a good chunk of the main cast, right? Where there's going to be a lot of different people coming in on this one, I thought, I'm not sure of that. I'm kind of going to this one a little bit skeptical, and I walked away pleasantly surprised. I liked a lot of what they did here. I thought it was really good.
I agree. That's what
And
I
they
said. Maybe I was too vague.
No, you were
Okay,
perfectly
let
fine.
me rephrase
No,
that. Let
it's
me
more
rephrase
that
that.
no. It's I got what you meant in terms of the plot. Again, no
Oh,
spoilers.
not the plot. Not just the plot. Everything.
No,
Uh,
that's
Yeah,
fair.
no, I
Okay,
get you there. But in terms
let
of
me
you, if
say
you
it's
like the season or not, it wasn't really clear what a giant tank finally,
you
because it
know
was interpreted
exactly
as
what
everything
that
was
tank is.
perfect.
You
I know,
know
I know,
exactly what that tank
Tauriel,
is,
I
but
know. Tauriel, just to explain, I know
yes.
what you meant, but in terms of opinions, it could also mean that you loved everything about it, and then the ending was just shit, and it destroyed everything. That could also be
No.
a thing.
Oh my god, I worked so hard on that comparison. I and you
It's okay. It's okay.
okay.
I got
Let
you
me
eventually. I got you
let me
eventually.
say it in simpler terms. My expectation for this season was a 7 out of 10, and I got a 58. There. Is that better?
Fair, very
Yeah,
fair.
let's
Do
go
you
with that.
do you understand me now?
Yeah, yeah. No, I got you even before I got it. It was just in terms of did you like it or not?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway. So overall, positive opinions about this season. Even if I have some gripes, which we will get to. Overall, this we like this season, and I am now fearing for my life because of the two of you. But that's another story.
You'll be
Um,
fine.
yeah.
If you say a single bad thing about this season, I
Well,
will
then
murder you in your sleep.
let's just go into spoilers then, shall we?
That's fine by me because I'm a balloon about to burst anyway,
Okay.
so.
But before we go in, I just want to say that my girlfriend gonna send me the perfect allegory for this season. The
Which is
baklava of the series.
what?
I'll explain it when we get to spoilers. But you know what? See this as your spoiler warning because this comparison might require a bit of spoilers. So, spoilers in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, you have to explain that.
Okay, so basically, the one thing that I would say kind of not necessarily irked. It's not even a bad thing. It's just something that I felt was overdone and bloated. Some things is that they played off some of the flashbacks with Aziraphale and Crowley, like to flashbacks in different time zones. Some of this was good. Some of it was great. The but I felt they overplayed it because there was this kind of general consensus that episode 3 of season 1 was the one people liked the most because it was Aziraphale and Crowley throughout different points in time and kind of detached from the rest of the season. So I felt like they wanted to give us that, but over a few episodes, and is it just me or did all of those plot points basically didn't really serve anything in the greater picture?
It's just you. They're very important. What are you talking about?
Okay, then you know what? Please explain to me how they are important. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear how I'm wrong. Hit me.
I would love to explain this in as much detail as I have. So, first, you have the first scene of the first episode, Aziraphale and Crowley in heaven. Sorry,
That's good.
Crowley,
That
because
I'm not talking
yes,
about this.
you
I'm
have
talking about
first of all, you have their first meeting, which was in the garden, which that was a shock, but
no.
it
That's
doesn't
great.
contradict anything. And it sets up why Aziraphale wants Crowley to be an angel again, because Crowley was laughing and he was happy and he
No,
liked to
okay.
create
This is
things.
good. I don't mean this flashback. I mean the one you because
Okay,
there's the one with the Yub, which was kind of cool. This one I liked. But then there's the one
okay, with Job.
when Aziraphale is like in the theater. What did this have to do with anything? Hit me.
It was okay. Hold on. I was rewatching the show before the podcast, and I didn't reach that, and I forgot what was happening. Sorry, but what I remember was first of all, Hal knew something was going on between Aziraphale and Crowley, so they
But
were
we know
starting to
that.
be suspicious. We didn't know that.
We
No, we didn't.
we basically did. The
Well,
entire first season was about them kind of knowing about it.
we the audience
Yeah,
knew,
the
but like
first.
heaven and hell didn't, right? Like
Yes,
that's the back
yes.
then at least. Not at that point in time. There was
Didn't know at the beginning.
suspicion, I think, was the idea, but like heaven and hell weren't entirely certain on it, right? And this was them
No,
trying to gain that information, essentially, for
Heaven
the
and
flashback.
Hell didn't know until I think the third or fourth episode. They didn't know that Crowley and Aziraphale even met on the Earth.
Well, yeah, no,
They
that's fair.
didn't
Then, you know what,
know.
maybe I'm confusing this because from jumping from backward to forward and everything. That maybe it's the ADHD talking, but either way, even if this is the entire thing that this flashback served, there could have been other ways to do this.
Second of all, it shows the trust that they had in each other even back then.
Well, let's
And
see. Again, season 1. Oh, we have that. Good.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I don't know. Okay.
I know what you mean, and it's perfectly valid. I just think we could have either done. We already have it, a lot of it, with the Aziraphale and Crowley's trust, or we saw this in other ways in regards to heaven and hell finding out, because the entire season was basically about that. That's my
HC.
thing. Yes.
HC, piece of advice: never watch Once Upon a Time.
Sadly, I did. I actually watched the Frozen plot of it, and it was the worst thing I've ever. Okay, not the worst thing I've ever seen, but that was something.
Why did you watch the fourth season, which is the worst, by the way? Why did you jump into? Okay, never mind.
I watched it all
because this was doing the plot. Actually, you know what? We are probably gonna talk about this because Wolf and I are planning to do a Frozen episode of this podcast later this year. But I was just thinking, you know what? I am in the Frozen hype, and I kind of want to see what they're gonna do with these characters, and I hate myself for thinking that.
Don't watch the rest then.
I watched scenes with Merida in them because Merida is best Disney princess. Come at me, and I have questions. But okay, now this is another topic entirely.
To get back to Good Omens 2, I can see your point, HC, right? In that, hey, it's not necessarily needed, but at the same time, while watching it, I'm very much enjoying it. I'm getting into it, and like, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I do see the point of like, we already kind of know these two characters trust each other. This could be used for this time that this flashback field could have been used for something different and maybe better. But ultimately,
you what?
As
what?
a
Say
viewer,
that again. Say that again.
Ultimately,
I'm
as a
going
viewer,
to kill you too.
as a
Uh,
viewer, I'm happy with it, right? I'm happy with what I got from that scene. Like, I see nothing wrong with it, per se,
there's
personally.
for the
Okay, you're
record.
good now.
Okay, for the record, again, there's nothing
No, fair.
inherently wrong with
Yeah.
that. But again, and maybe it's ADHD talking. I have other stuff to do in the day. Sadly, I am kind of, and the last few days, on a personal note, have been kind of stressful with some in
I-
real life stuff.
I
But
get it, right?
the-
Like, you're of the opinion that they could have used that to tread new ground instead of showing us something that you felt we
there
as
you
viewers
go.
already knew. I get that.
Because
I
okay, one
disagree, but I
flashback.
get it.
Yeah, so like one flashback, fine. Another one in the next episode, okay, not exactly what I want to see the plot move along, but okay, I guess it's fine. Third one, let's see something new, please. I know you're trying to hit that 6 episode quota, but for fuck's sake, let's move along because. And here's the thing, right?
HC,
Wait, I'm about to compliment.
HC,
I'm
you're
about to
thin
compliment.
eyes.
I know, I'm a
You're on
Sonic
thin
fan.
eyes.
Being on Teen Ice is my mojo, for God's sakes. But okay. The thing is, though, the main plot of the show is really damn good. I want to see the two ladies eventually get together. I want to see the plot with Gabriel. That was interesting and hilarious, and also had a good conclusion. I wanted to see the old lady who suddenly became the main villain, even though we're supposed to believe it's a different character. I like that, and I like to see Aziraphale and Crowley continue to develop. I love those things. And then when you have so much of these flashbacks, which again, in my honest opinion, don't really add to anything. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to call you out because it felt like fan fiction. It felt like people liked the flashback episode in the previous one, so we kind of need to do it again, but bigger. And it's not necessarily why people like that. We liked it because we got to know Aziraphale and Crowley. Now we know them. I want to see them progress, not have random stories from the past. But again, it's not that these stories are bad by any means. It's just maybe not here and maybe not now. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Okay,
I get
when
it.
and where then?
I don't know, a spin-off? Make a web show out of this?
Have you watched Staged?
No, I don't think I did.
I don't know how to describe it other than David Tennant and Michael Sheen being themselves.
Okay, great. You know what? Give me that. Give me that. I don't mind.
And they did it thanks to Good Omens.
No, that's great. It's me, but at the same time, I'm not saying again the flashbacks in the episode aren't bad. I just personally I feel this time could have been used for something better. That is all. It's not a bad show. It's just I can kind of say I got sick of this for a bit. Let's move on with the actual interesting part.
We got David Tennant actually speaking in his actual Scottish accent.
It's great.
In
but
one
I
of
can also
those.
look up interviews with him. I can watch DuckTales. I can. It's not necessarily something that I can see anywhere else.
Please tell me you didn't like that.
No, I'm okay. Again, it's not that I hated it. It's not that I hated it. I just think, in the bigger picture, it was the lesser part of the package.
Okay, got it. Can we talk about the kiss now?
No,
Jumping
no.
ahead a lot.
We're saving that. No, we're
Spoilers.
We are in the
Last time I
spoiler section. What do you mean?
Wolf does
That's the
that.
joke. That's the joke.
Well, section
Yeah.
full of spoilers.
Yeah, like
I-
leading up to it, right? Like, our plot starts off with, right, Gabriel.
Just a quick note, quick question.
Uh-huh.
Is it me or is it Mark Hamill doing the Joker voice, the PR in hell?
No.
I don't think so,
What?
no, but I
sounded exactly like him.
I can kind of see where you're coming from. I get it.
I don't.
Okay. Listen to it again and listen to the Joker. Tell me it's not the same. Anyway, Wolf, you were gonna say.
Yeah, like getting into it, Gabriel and kind of showing up at the beginning, completely naked. Interesting
Yeah.
way to start.
You see, this is a good, this is a way to hook you in. You're laughing, you're confused, you're wondering what the hell's going on. That's perfect. Boom.
How did you guys react when you realized who Jim is?
I thought that was great. I thought that was great.
I mentioned it. Yeah, I mentioned it last time that I wanted to hear your reactions. Tell me.
And I very much agree. I wanted to see more of him. I think, the actor for Gabriel did great this season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like in a way that he's more toned down because it's a more dramatic Gabriel, right? It's a more dramatic. It's not the overbearing boss who would tease Aziraphale as if he's a puppy or something. It's a guy who doesn't know who he is. He's confused. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and he seems to be remorseful because and this is a scene I loved when Crowley tells them, "You did all of those things to my friend, and I didn't care for it." And he's just there and he's just there I'm sure I agree with you. I was terrible, but I don't remember doing that. And in a way, it kind of does show the over the top Gabriel that we kind of know who had all of those over the top expressions and smiles and gestures. But it's also very deeply emotional. John Hamm is just a great actor, and he has opportunity to show those beats. It's great.
I agree. And also, speaking of that scene, when Crowley told Jim to jump out the window, that gave me Kilgrave flashbacks, and I was so scared. For a couple of seconds, I was like, "Oh no, did I watch the wrong show?" Hold on.
It is kind of similar, yeah. Now that you mention it, do this, and he does it.
But it's a great scene though for Crowley as well, right?
Jump out the window, okay, and then no, stop.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
Wasn't that exactly something that happened? I don't know. I haven't watched it since 2019, but
even if it's not exactly that, it is similar. It's in the same vein.
Yeah, it was great. It took me out of the show, but it was great.
No, there's also a point in the first episode where Crowley said, "Don't feed the ducks this thing," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you would know something about feeding ducks."
Oh yes. Yeah, that scene where he told a spy or whatever wrong bench, that was just great. Oh, and even though I can totally understand Crowley for not telling Aziraphale what happened in heaven, Crowley, please tell your boyfriend what happened in heaven, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I think
to be honest, I think I get that he just kind of wanted to, we got through this, everything's okay, let's move on. But yeah, if Aziraphale told you in detail how he acted as you could probably mention something.
Yes, Crowley, please.
Speaking of Crowley, right? I really enjoyed his character this season and what they did for him. I think they did a lot more for him this season than Aziraphale, right? As far as growth goes, right? And showing how much he does care, even though he pretends not to, right? Like they did a lot more this season than they did the first, which I think was very enjoyable.
And it's also, because he has those moments where one of those things that's really fun is to just see because in season 1 you could argue it was basically Crowley calls all the crazy shots, right? He's the one that whenever something happens, he's the one that tells Aziraphale, "Listen, we need to think outside the box. You need to think outside of being an angel. We need to do something, outlandish here." And here it seems like he's still that same Crowley, but he's also like looking up to Aziraphale as an actual equal. Like when you find out that I think it's also in the first episode where Aziraphale turned out to be right about something, and he does this "I'm sorry" dance.
Yes.
That's great. And then there's also this
that has to become a meme.
Yeah,
Please make that a meme already.
yeah.
Please.
Somebody, please make this. And also, there's I think one of my favorite parts, which just show because again, another kind of outlandish idea would is to, as Aziraphale suggests taking Crowley's car into a trip to kind of figure something out. And Crowley actually calls him like, I can feel you're not driving the Bentley right just from here. I can feel my car screaming. And then
Oh, that
we
was
find
great.
out that Aziraphale just changing the car. It's like, my
Yeah,
car has
yeah.
never been yellow. uh,
That was amazing. And then, okay, if you don't change it back, I'm gonna sell all your books.
yeah, you wouldn't dare.
I would.
So they start having this thing where Aziraphale starts kind of having some power dynamics against him, and it's nice, it's fun because and also the first kind of hints that I say the first couple of hints we've been getting hints in season 1, but hear me out. And that the first time they actually talk about them being romantically involved, it's I forgot her name. You have to remind me. I'm
Nina.
terrible.
Nina.
Yeah. And she's the one who kind of just go, you love them, don't you? And it's like, I'm sorry, what? And he's actually kind of uncomfortable about this. He's actually flustering. He's you would expect Aziraphale to be in that situation, not Crowley. So it's interesting to see Crowley in there.
Yeah, I think that was because Nina took him by surprise. And it was like, the
Still,
stuttering. Yeah.
again, but those little, it's something. Again, it's something. If you saw this scene written without context, you would think it's Aziraphale, not Crowley.
But I think it works that it's Crowley, right? I think if it was Aziraphale, it
I'm saying
wouldn't
this is a
work
good
as
thing.
well. Oh no, that's fair. I know, I get you. I'm just saying, right, that if it was Aziraphale, I don't think it would land as well if it was. I think it works better that it is Crowley, right?
Yeah, because that leads directly into the confession scene.
Well, and also
we all know.
gotta
One
save it to
second,
last.
but
go ahead.
this directly leads into that, and we all knew that Crowley would be the one to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone doubted that. So it had to be Crowley.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it seemed like the safer option because it's always like the tough one who is eventually the first one to do it. It's kind of that thing, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Have you seen the first scene of episode 1, season 1?
Yeah.
You know how Crowley felt in that very first scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, again, I'm saying I kind of saw Crowley doing it. I'm just saying it is kind of a trope that it's the tough one in the relationship that does it. So I kind of figured out.
Is it?
Yeah, sometimes for the most part it is.
I don't know. I've seen it both ways.
The point is, I kind of saw it coming that it was Crowley who was gonna initiate it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, we saw that from a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the conversation ended, I was like, okay, Crowley, how are you going to propose now?
All I'm gonna say is that ever since the first season blew up in terms of shipping them, whether or not it was intentional from season 1 or not, you could make the arguments. We're not gonna get into that. All I'm gonna say though is, as soon as they announce season 2, I'm like, okay, when they're gonna kiss in the final episode, calling it, and
Let me tell you something.
And it wasn't for the fact that I was fucking crying. I actually went, yes. But then I remember what's happened.
Yes. Yeah, same. I don't remember if I cried or screamed first, but again, I had a sore throat afterwards, so either way, you get the point. But you said that you didn't know if the hints were intentional in season 1. Buddy, the hints were intentional in the book 30 years ago. What are you talking about?
Again, I knew it. I know that they were. What I meant was that if they actually intended for it to be, to be the main takeaway. And you can argue either way. For me, it was obvious. For a lot of other people, it was obvious. But as soon as season 1 became, popular and the fandom was kind of just started embracing them being together. They started to embrace that ship. That's what I meant. Okay, season 2, they're gonna kiss at the very least. Calling it.
Neil already planned a 3-season arc by the time season 1 was released, so I don't think the fan reaction was that much of an influence.
Well, you could argue because some stuff might have been changed. You may never know. We can't really be for certain about the little detail.
You want to know what was actually fan influenced?
What?
Gabriel and Beelzebub, whatever.
Yeah, this I
Neil-
know because okay, funny story about this. This was the one where I'm like, huh, that's interesting, and I kind of like it. But and then I saw a friend, going on Instagram, going, "Oh my God, they basically made a minor side ship canon," and I'm like, "Oh, people ship them? Huh?
People ship
Didn't know.
anyone. What are you talking about?
No, but not
that.
this degree."
Fair.
Yeah, but Neil said on Tumblr, sorry, not Twitter, because again, you should follow Neil on Tumblr. He's a great guy, please. He said on Tumblr that he didn't think of Gabriel and Beelzebub while filming season 1, and only thought, after he saw the fans' reaction to the first season.
Huh, that's interesting to know.
And he liked it very much. And
Yeah,
he made it happen because he's the boss.
Yeah, he's the boss, and he can make it happen. And you know what? That's great. That's great. Go Neil Gaiman.
Oh, speaking of which, I left Neil a message that he didn't reply to, but I'm not surprised. It was something like, "Thank you, Neil, for breaking my heart into a million pieces. Please do it again."
Thank you for this information. I would like to listen to it again. So, anyway, we've been kind of
bouncing around a little bit. You have.
Wolf, what do you have to say?
I mean, I've agreed with everything you've said so far. Like, I have nothing to add, or take away from it, right?
So
Like,
that's why you're leading the next subject. What do you
No.
want to talk about?
I let me sit here and be silent. I mean,
No.
we've kind of been jumping around a lot here or there, but talking about Gabriel and Beelzebub, right? Like, it wasn't something that I had seen either, but I think they did quite well with it for this season. Like, it's very short, it's very simple and in the background, but it works, right? Like, it's
Yep.
I think the short and simpleness to it makes it work better, right? In so much as, like, you don't know if they're a thing until the very last episode, and it's another flashback thing, but it's very quick and it goes through very simple and shows like, hey, these two ended up coming together and liking one another because of the actions of Aziraphale and Crowley, and that kind of just led to things very quickly for them. And it works. I enjoy it.
I'm going to say something that you're going to hate me for it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Try me.
Gabriel and Beelzebub, crap, I keep pronouncing the name wrong, sorry.
You're
Beelzebub reminded me of June and Sled Bitch.
The crossover
Yes.
we never knew we wanted. Oh no.
Think about it. Two assholes were in charge of everything and took a crap on their people.
Yeah.
I can see it.
You know something though? I am gonna make the argument that you're wrong, and that's because Gabriel and Beelzebub are likable.
Fair.
Fair. Fair.
Okay, but
But
this
still,
joke is. I get what you mean, though. It's that it's a similar dynamic, which
yeah.
honestly makes me go, aha, about the future of that show.
Yes. Okay, let's move on because I do not want to ruin this podcast
So
with a show
the
not worth talking about. But I
yeah.
couldn't resist. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. It was just
Yeah,
there. I had to
it
do
was
it.
funny. It was funny. It was funny. I approve. At the end of the day, it's funny.
Yeah, speaking of, also, I will say, like, we talked a bit about Crowley. And not to say that Aziraphale's character wasn't done justice this season either. I did like, you brought it up earlier, right, where it seemed to be last season where Crowley was taking the lead a lot more, right? I did like this season where it's like, as you mentioned, Aziraphale was taking the lead a bit more, and there was a bit of a role reversal for both of them, right? Where Crowley had to take a bit of a back seat, but you saw a lot more character stuff with him and Aziraphale took the lead. I loved everything about, him going to Edinburgh, right? Like we talked earlier about the Bentley and him driving it and all of that. Seeing him meet the two goons in the graveyard and just, like, hey, let me use your phone. Hey, here's a better phone. And they're all like, hey, thanks, man. Like the two sweetest goon looking dudes ever.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then just him trying to pretend to be like an old newsie. Like, it was great.
AC, why did you do that?
For
Why?
the record, Wolf, if you want me to send it to you, and so you can put it on screen. But I just sent
Oh
Tauriel.
gosh.
I just sent Tauriel a meme comic I made, but in the time of Good Omens season 1. And it's like
Why?
if you're going to cross over How to Train Your Dragon and Good Omens, you know what? I am gonna go all the way with that. Wolf, if
Where
you want
did
to
you get
send it,
that from? I just want to know.
I made it.
Oh,
Let me get this up on screen so people can see and they
Thank you.
can laugh at you.
Thank
Great,
you
I made it
so much.
Huh?
Thank you so much.
Oh, you don't
I also
have to kill me anymore. That's good.
yeah, I also made a meme, but it's about the final scene, so I'll
Okay.
put it up when we get to that.
All right, fair enough. So, how do we come back from this?
Oh, I don't know. You just put How to Train a Dragon in my mind. Why would you do it?
Hey,
Something
you
like
put it in
this.
my mind. Don't blame this on me.
Okay, fine. Actually, I didn't put How to Train a Dragon. I put the 9 Realms, which will never be How to Train a Dragon.
You're right.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You can now see it too on the screen.
Yay.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
It got there eventually. Anyways.
So as now we got this meme on, okay, I will say this. I enjoyed another thing that I really enjoyed was Aziraphale actually defending Gabriel and the people in the library from the from the demons. That was a really cool fight. Like and I also like that the miracle because Aziraphale and Crowley did do a miracle to protect Gabriel to the point where he's actually willing to give himself out. They're like, this is not Gabriel. What the fuck are you talking about? Get him out.
Yeah, that was great. Also, have to mention Gabriel. Why did I say Gabriel? Gabriel's costume in that scene where he goes out is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, that was
whoever decided that costume should receive a raise. Period.
Yeah, and on that note, I also really loved that not as like Crowley and I forgot the name of the character, like the angel officer as she fancies herself.
Oh, Muriel.
Michael? Oh, Muriel.
Yes, Muriel is great.
Muriel.
Yeah.
And,
Muriel is just Aziraphale Jr., and you cannot convince me otherwise.
Yeah, no,
Fair,
that's
fair.
basically what it is. But
Let me
yeah,
tell you a funny story because you haven't seen the promotional stuff going on around the season. So let me tell you a story. Last
can I
year
just
during
say real quickly, I just want to say that I loved that they're looking kind of through the logs of what happened to Gabriel, and then there's just this discussion about an Armageddon 2, and Gabriel is the one that just like, nah, you know what?
yeah.
From the entire reason he was basically exiled and was wiped from his memories is because he's like, you know what? I don't really want an Armageddon 2. I kind of don't care. It felt last time.
I, I want to talk about that scene in full, but I just want to mention this about Muriel because you guys don't know, and it's just pure joy.
Hit us.
So last year during a Comic-Con, I don't know which one, there was the scene where Muriel meets Aziraphale in the shop where she pretends to be a police officer. And that was shown during a panel. And that was the only footage of Good Omens Season 2 until the trailer. So everyone was thinking, aw, Aziraphale and Crowley are going to adopt Muriel. Yeah, that I didn't mean to sound like that.
No, fair.
Hold on.
It got the point
thought-
across.
Yeah, everyone thought that. Like the internet was full, and then when the trailer came out, the trailer showed, Gabriel naked in Aziraphale's shop, whatever, and everyone was like,
Gabriel's the father.
"Oh, so they're going to adopt Gabriel instead of Muriel? Okay." Because
Yeah.
the entire scene where Aziraphale and Crowley discussed what to do with Gabriel, where Crowley was like, we need to get him away from here, that was two parents arguing whether to let their child adopt a dog or not.
Only this in here. It's one of the couple. It's one of the people in the relationship wanting the dog.
Yeah, but still, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. And also, honestly, though, if my girlfriend and I ever got a dog that has a face like Gabriel's, I'd be like, no, this is the one puppy I'm not accepting.
Okay. Now we can go to the scene where Crowley is in heaven, which was like, oh my god, they're going to do this? Really?
They did it.
That was not on my bingo card for this season, but it was cool. I mean, it wasn't something too extraordinary, but it was cool. Well, he went to heaven last season, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, this one is it's very different, right? Like beforehand he was
Yeah.
disguised, this time he's also disguised, but he has to be very careful. And I like how he's still found out, but like the person who finds him out doesn't really care. It's like, all right, you're here. Let's watch this then, It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting the more you watch this, the more they show just how close heaven and hell are while also being very opposed, right? I like the dichotomy there.
In a way, kind of a weird comparison, but just roll with me here. It's kind of like two business rivals that are across the street from each other.
No, that's fair. I think that's very fair.
Yeah. Also,
because we can also kind of see in season 1 that they take at least Crowley and Aziraphale, they take the stairways in in the same place, and just one goes down, one goes up.
And there was also Michael who called one of the demons, I think Liger was his name.
Yeah.
And they have each other's phone numbers. So
yeah, the fact that Michael that's actually interesting because at least I'm not sure how it is in the in other Bibles, but in the Hebrew Bible, God's two lead lead angels are Gabriel and Michael. So it's interesting that if Gabriel is out, they're like, let's call Michael, and it's like, no, we don't need Michael yet.
Yeah, I trust Neil Gaiman completely, but it was not cool of him to show us the whole Gabriel being fired scene if the next scene, actually not the very next, but after that, Aziraphale was offered his place, and I was like, huh? But if they fired Gabriel for saying no, wouldn't they fire Aziraphale as well?
Well, to be honest, the way the season ends, I assume there's some kind of a bigger plan in here that we're just not aware of.
Yeah, that's what I said. I trust Neil, so I won't judge this completely until the third season. But it's still weird to have them so close
Yeah,
together.
but
Like,
I guess it's also that who considering again, we do know that there's a season 3 coming. We do know that most likely there are
in
gonna be some
four
there are gonna be
years,
some yeah.
in
I hope
another
not.
4 years.
I hope that it won't take 4 years, but you know what I mean.
Neil, again, guys, follow Neil on Tumblr. He said that assuming the strike ends tomorrow, the earliest that the third season could be out, if they renewed the season tomorrow, it would be early 2026.
Oh,
That's
well,
fair.
fuck.
I mean, you have to
Yeah.
expect that, right, from the strike. Everything's going to get pushed
Yeah.
back no matter what. And
No,
No,
the strike.
that's assuming
oh no, I
that's
get it.
assuming the strike ends
Like,
tomorrow
yeah.
and Amazon renews the show tomorrow, because he hasn't fully completed
Oh, I
the
see.
scripts for season 3.
Okay.
He only has the first episode and the last 15 minutes of the last episode written down. He has the story, but he doesn't have the script.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair. So yeah, it might take even longer, especially with the strike and everything. So yeesh.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Well,
That's why I said 4
Hollywood,
years.
pay your writers and your actors, yo. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so please pay your actors and writers because they deserve it.
Especially when they're doing shows like this that are really good.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. And please ignore all the idiots on Twitter that go, bad writing, they don't deserve more money, because I just saw those, and like those people need to be smacked, but that's another story.
They need
Speaking
to be
of,
smitten. Yeah, I was just about to bring that scene because it was too hilarious when Crowley asked what the past tense of smite is, and he said
Yeah,
smut. I just lost it.
But also speaking of really good actors, right?
Yes.
They did really good with the actors who came back to not reprise their old roles, but play new roles. Like I believe her name is the actress who plays Nina Sosanya, I believe is how you pronounce her name. Apologies if it's not.
Yeah, I love that they
She
have
did
characters
great.
named Nina and Maggie, played by actresses named Nina and Maggie. That was just beautiful.
But
yeah,
like,
that is cool.
Yeah, and also
I love when that happens.
The woman Miranda Richardson, she played Madame Tracy season 1. She played Shax in this season. I'll admit, I didn't know that until reading it up on the wiki and going through stuff. Like, I didn't realize, oh shit, that's the same person. I did not know. She did really well, right? Like, it feels like a completely different character. Yeah.
For Shanks, I recognize that it's the same actress. Her I recognized like right away, but for Nina I didn't.
Yeah, Nina, I kind of saw it, right? I could see the similarities in like the actress, but yeah, for Shax, like that one completely flew over me. Did not realize until reading up on it. So yeah, like they did great. Like all of the actors and actresses for this season, like the ones who came back and the new ones, right, did really great for this season and really blew it out of the water, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yes,
I agree. And I have nothing more to add. You just said everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we need to pay. No, not we. Sorry. And that's why Hollywood needs to pay its actors properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because look what they can do.
Yeah, please, studios, treat your actors and writers like people, please.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, we're back to the show. What was the last thing we talked about?
We were talking a little bit about
smut scene.
that. We also talking a little bit about the kind of I guess attack on the bookstore That poor bookstore, by the way, or bookshop.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
no,
I think
Yeah,
that
it
I
got
think
burned in season one, and now it got. Speaking of which, did you notice that Aziraphale wanted electric candles for the circles, but he still had actual candles in the chandelier? And I was like,
yeah. I mean,
Aziraphale, you idiot!
no, like I think a guy needs to be prepared for anything, you know.
Aziraphale, you idiot! If you don't want your bookshop to burn down again, replace all your candles,
nah, just
not
the
just the
ones.
ones for the circle.
No, but
What can you do?
I really enjoyed like the attack scene, right, and just seeing everyone kind of coming together in that and how that all played out. That was really great too. Like I loved everything about the ball as well. Something we've not mentioned,
Yes,
but the comedy this
yes,
season hit
yes.
so much more with me
Yeah,
than it did
yeah.
season one.
The comedy is great. Yeah, the comedy was amazing.
I just want to point out I loved how Maggie accidentally let the demons in. Like they didn't break a
Hmm.
barrier or something. It was a mistake.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
love that. It was a cliche dodge of just perfection.
Yep.
yeah. And I also liked how Azilfa is like if these demons stand into the light, they're gonna have vapor, and it's like, and she just sends one in. It goes kaboom. It's like, well, keep going, like like bitch.
Yeah.
I just love how
She
Aziraphale's like,
didn't like those demons though.
I
We can all
Nah,
agree that she didn't like those demons
probably
at
not.
all, and that's
they
why
were
she.
minions. They were minions. She doesn't care.
I do love
She
It's
though,
doesn't.
right? Aziraphale's like, we need to go. They're not dumb enough to continue falling for it forever. It's like, but they're dumb enough to fall for it this many times, though. I love it. I
Yeah, like, but
yeah.
at some point they would grow a conscience. Like, at some point there's a chance.
I still just love though how they've portrayed the demons so far. I love how they've
Yeah.
honestly portrayed both sides as inept, but in very unique and different ways. It's again, I
Yes.
love the dichotomy of heaven and hell. It's been great so far.
Mhm.
Agree.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
I think we can talk about the bowl now.
yeah,
And I
so
have to say, just as a disclaimer, I have never read a Jane Austen book. Don't come at me. I don't live in America. It's not in my curriculum, and I wasn't curious to read it. So,
I don't think I've ever read a book by this author as well. So yeah.
As the resident American, hi, I have.
yeah. So, is it accurate?
Mm. It's fun. It's very enjoyable, right? I don't know if I've read
But
this
is it
particular one.
accurate?
I think it is. It's been a long time, all right? I'm old. So I think, I've read this many, many years ago when I was a wee lad, But,
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it's fairly accurate. I think what they're doing is right? But it's been a while.
Oh no, I
Regardless
didn't
though,
mean it like that. I just want to know if Aziraphale actually reads his books.
I think he does. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
It's accurate.
As opposed to people claiming something about the mythologies they are supposed to be grown into. I'm not gonna get into that, but that's another story. Anywho,
Hmm.
I don't really know the book in question or the other in question, but I will say
Pride and Prejudice?
Yes.
no, no, no. So
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure about I kind of liked that couple, like Nina and I forgot the other girl's name.
Maggie.
Maggie.
We
Yeah,
said it so many times.
I'm terrible with remembering names. Okay, it takes me a bit.
Okay.
So Nina and Maggie, I enjoy them, but no, this is really a nitpick on my end. But I think that the abusive partner should have actually been an existing entity, and they're not basically just a tell don't show. But that's just nitpicking.
What do you mean tell don't show? They actually show the messages on screen.
No, you see, that's the thing though. It's a message on screen. We don't see the actual person.
Hmm.
We don't hear a voice. We don't hear anything. It's an entity that doesn't really exist in the show outside of those messages. Again, this is a nitpick. I'm just saying, I think I would have loved to actually see this person, and maybe, and Maggie actually standing up for Nina.
I don't know. I kind of like that it's not. Maybe I think
Hmm.
it's an interesting way to do it, right? In so much as you get, they very much did well enough with the writing and how the texts come through, right? That you understand that this is not like a good relationship for Nina that she's in right here, right?
No, it's not.
Like, her current partner is very much not that great of a person and needs to work on herself as well, you know?
Yeah. I don't think I either liked or disliked the fact that we never see the
I think it's
partner.
okay. I don't think there's anything
Yeah.
wrong with it.
Yeah.
Again, it's not something that like destroys the show or like this
No,
entire subplot. It's just me thinking out loud.
that's fair.
Would I prefer this? Would I not prefer this? Because as is, the both of them are adorable by the end.
Hmm.
And it's like, honestly,
Yes.
I was kind of waiting for them to kiss even more, even on the same level that I wanted Crowley and Aziraphale to kiss, honestly. But you can't win everything. Maybe next time.
I do.
They are a parallel to Crowley and Aziraphale, though.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
don't think it would have made sense for them to end up together when Crowley and Aziraphale didn't. Either have them both end up together or neither.
That's fair.
Because they were set up as a parallel. Nina is the grumpy one who shouts at everyone and doesn't like anyone, and Maggie is full of joy and always giggly, and it's also reflected in the clothes and hairstyles.
Hmm. No, I agree with that. I think
Come
you're right.
on.
I think you're right in that, they are parallels, and it doesn't make sense for them to change up how both of them end up. But I do like, and speaking of them as parallels, right? I liked how the humans in this season were a lot more involved with Aziraphale and Crowley as well, right? In so much as the human
Mhm.
characters you see, they're more involved in their day-to-day lives. The human characters from last season were fine, but they did feel very separated. Like there was this, clear line between them and their stories, right?
I
And
think
their
it, I
stories just
think it's
happen
Yeah.
to
something that
intersect.
I think it's not necessarily that the humans in the previous season were not not connected to the plot, because they were.
Well, I'm not saying they.
It's that Crowley and Aziraphale never really communicate with them.
Mhm.
They were a different bunch of characters that just happened to be connected to the
Yeah,
events.
no, that's what I'm saying more or less. It's like that. Yeah, like they were a part of the same story, but their sides of the story had this clear line between them until after a certain point where then the line was crossed and they started to interact with one another more, right? Which is fine.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. I just enjoy it the way this season did it more personally, right?
Yeah, I can see. I definitely agree. Uh,
Also, I
let's
just have
go.
to think about how being a human, minding your own business, and then you're involved in a war between heaven and hell all of a sudden. I mean, with Adam, he was the Antichrist, so he was the Antichrist, and Anathema was looking for the Antichrist, but now it's just two humans who ended up in the middle of a war, and it's just so funny to think how they react to everything.
Mm.
By the way, there's a good chance that all of the humans from season one are completely unaware that this is happening. Like
Yes.
this is just a thing that happens far away, and they're about living their lives and shit. So I guess it's kind of funny. One thing I forgot to mention, it's not really anything, but I like how the intro sequence kind of starts where the previous one ended.
Hmm.
Because in the
Yeah.
because in the intro to the first season, like, you kind of see everyone fall down, and then in this one you see like Crowley climbing up from the pit, and Aziraphale is like flying in to continue the walk with them. So it's kind of like a nice continuation there.
Mhm.
I like it. That's nice.
Yeah, didn't notice that.
Well, I guess
What
it's
I
also
did
because
notice, what I did
it's like
notice, and I just want to point this out because I loved it. When Jim was looking through the books in Aziraphale's shop, he ended up in a book that was the script for the first season.
really.
Yes, the one
Oh
that
wow,
starts
that's
with
neat. Yeah.
in the beginning it was a nice day or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you see, I thought it was a reference to the Bible.
No, like I think.
It
Oh wow,
is, but
yeah.
it's also I paused the episode and read the whole paragraph or how
Mm.
much you could see in that book, and it was the script just written like a book.
Yeah, that's interesting. And
I love
also,
little dots
actually,
like
I just
that.
want to say that, completely unrelated, but I had a conversation with a friend a few months ago about, like, kind of dream projects in like dream projects you would like to see, like an odd, a creator you like working on a franchise that you enjoy.
Mhm.
So I told the friend, so the friend I was having this conversation with, I said I would love Neil Gaiman to do something with Rayman. It's a video game franchise. To those who don't know, I don't know what make it even a graphic novel or something. But for one, my boy needs love. But two, I think Neil Gaiman and his imagination could really benefit this franchise. And now suddenly you tell me this, and it's like this is a joke they had in one of the Rayman games where one of the characters just pulls out the instruction manual for the game to recap the story.
I don't know the game, but that sounds very funny.
No, no, but it's like, but I say Neil Gaiman needs to work on a franchise. He would be a great fit for it, and then he does a similar joke to something they did in this franchise. So it's like, I think I'm onto something here. Neil, in case you're listening to this, buddy, go to Ubisoft, propose the idea. I will love you forever, and I'll forgive I'll forgive the fact that I think the flashbacks in this season were kind of pointless. Cool.
Wolf, you still have to get Neil for this podcast whenever season 3 is announced. You have
Uh-huh.
to do it, buddy.
Definitely.
Please. Do you
Well,
want me to
there is
ask him?
no, actually, something. The strike is going on. We are non-pay, so we it doesn't. I think
You
by
have
all
I
accounts.
I think we have to show support and not have him on because, that's not supporting the writers or actors.
Hmm, I guess I don't
This is
know.
my way of getting out of it, by the way. When the
I
strike ends,
said
then I'll
when,
ask him.
not just when the strike ends, but when the third season is announced,
Mhm.
because that would be the reason to bring him on, you know?
Fair.
Yeah.
Because just popping in his inbox and saying, Neil, want to talk about Good Omens now? Just now?
Mhm. You're at home. You're not working. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Mhm.
kidding.
Yeah. Also, unrelated, but I cannot hold this any longer because we were talking about the ball scene earlier. And when Aziraphale invites Crowley to a dance, they're the only
Mhm.
ones who hold hands every time they dance with other people. They barely
Yeah,
touch
right. They
other
never, they
people.
never switch.
Yes,
Yeah,
but when they dance with each other, they just go for it. And I was like, my fangirl, my 16 fangirl self couldn't resist.
Fair.
Mhm.
Fair. You know,
So now here comes the question of are we actually going to talk about the ending, because I think for the most part we
pretty
covered
sure.
everything else.
Yeah. Like,
How, how many hours do we have to talk about the ending? Because I could talk for at least 10.
Let's
have at
let's
least
assume
one.
let's assume that, let's try and dedicate like maybe 30 minutes to this.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Prefer,
You
preferably
avoided I brought out the scene an hour ago, and you said, "Hold on, let's
Yeah,
wait."
you have to wait.
And now
That's how we do things here.
now you
Tori.
won't. Now you won't even let me talk about it.
Yeah, we'll
I
let you
will
talk
let
about
you
it.
talk about it, but it's more that we do have a time limit, somewhat.
Unfortunately, yes, we do need to keep these things under a certain time limit, so our audience doesn't have to sit there forever.
You're on thin ice again, HC. You're on
Hey,
thin fucking ice, star.
not being nice is kind of my mojo sometimes. That's kind of my charm.
Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are, Crowley?
No, I think I'm the guy who created this podcast, so my rules.
Fair.
Okay, but joking aside, all jokes aside here, let's just talk about the ending because I feel like it's the thing that people are most likely going to be talking about. And honestly, one of the things I'm doing after we're done recording is to go look for people's reactions to it.
Fair.
You didn't already do that?
No, I was actually quite busy today with a bunch of other things. So
I've been on Twitter and Tumblr for the last 24 hours.
oh
I
no
can
no
tell
no
you
no,
everything you want.
I don't mean this. I mean on YouTube, like people doing reaction
Oh,
videos to. I need to
yes,
see
I
them.
already made an edit. Wanna see?
Sure. Send me the link after. I'll watch
Yeah,
it. I'll watch it before that.
yes.
But
Because
but
um
but thank you for that.
unintentionally I remembered a song that fits the last 3 minutes so well, and I couldn't resist not editing. I don't do that. Okay, for people who don't know, I don't edit stuff. I don't edit videos. I'm not into the video editing part of fandoms, but I just couldn't resist.
Fair.
Hey, that's fair. You know something?
It
This is
was
how
just
I started.
yes. It's perfect. You'll see. I'll bring it. I'll bring the song up in a minute. Just you wait.
Just you wait. Just you wait. That was
Wait
my
and see. Oh, by the way, I loved that again because you don't follow Neil Gaiman on Tumblr. Every time for the past 2 years, he was asked something about second season that he couldn't possibly answer. He just said, "Wait and see," and everyone was like, "Fuck you, Neil." And now Aziraphale in the show said to Crowley, "Wait and see."
Uh-huh. Well, honestly, how much of it would it actually be? Considering it's Neil, it's probably planned, though. I guess.
Yes, yes, it was planned, but Neil, you bloody genius. I love you so much and hate you at the same time, but love you more.
Mhm.
Kisses.
Write a Raymond story for God's sakes. Okay. Anyway, so
Okay. Okay,
so
so let's talk about the elephant in the room because holy shit, that was my exact reaction. I expected something to happen. I didn't expect the context at all.
no,
Mm.
like again, I kind of knew that they were gonna kiss, but holy shit, the context and also like the fight felt legit
Mm-hmm.
for from both sides.
Both David and Michael need an Emmy or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
make the rules.
just give them an Oscar. Give them all an
It's a
Oscar.
show. They don't
I know.
give Oscars for
I
shows.
don't give a shit. They deserve an Oscar.
Fair.
I know, but give them something because they were both phenomenal.
No, definitely. Like both of them. Again,
Also,
I said even in season one, they make the show, and this scene just every scene with a minute is amazing, but this one just shows how much great chops they have, and like both of them are perfectly in character, but they also show you different aspects of the characters, and just everything about this breakup scene is just so well done, so
don't
well made.
call it breakup. What are you talking about? They didn't break
What
up.
I mean, okay, I mean this in
I'm
terms
kidding.
because
It's sarcasm. It's sarcasm.
okay, because you have to be honest. It's more of a breakup than them getting together. Let's be honest.
It's it's a rocky
It's
start.
neither. It's neither. I think it's more of a we're going our separate ways to sort things out, and we'll come back later.
Mhm.
But
it's a
I just
break.
want to say it's more of a pause than a break. Break is more permanent.
Name really like,
Okay,
but I
okay.
get you. I get you. I
Let
get
me
you.
say two things which are related to each other, and then I'll let you guys talk.
Sure.
This is the first time I've seen David Tennant kiss someone on screen.
Oh my god.
I'm
Okay, no, it's. I think it's the
yeah.
second time I've seen him
No,
kiss them.
I just watched Jessica Jones, Broadchurch, and animated stuff. So sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't. But
So I just want to say though,
second,
for the context though, the first time I saw him kiss someone on screen was actually my favorite actress, Kelly MacDonald. So go figure.
okay. And the second thing, this is a bit of a stretch because it's a review for another show. Do you guys know who Ben Barnes is?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't connect it to
Okay,
it.
then I won't talk about it. Anyway, there was a review for another show for that actor, but I'm going to change the name to David Tennant because it's just too perfect, and I'm gonna read it now. So
Okay.
David Tennant kisses like he's getting drafted in the army in the morning.
Well, in a way, he kissed Aziraphale as if Aziraphale was being drafted in the morning, which is basically what happens.
It's true.
I'm sorry, but I wanted to say that so much because it fits so well.
Well, you are too slow, my friend.
Yeah, because it wasn't for David, it was for the other actor and for another show, but this one fits so well. And
Yeah.
and I remember when I said I also had a meme for this scene. There you go. We'll put it on
No,
screen
I
for
have to
everyone to watch
say,
it.
whatever that show or movie was, that is such a weird thing for a review to say. Like he kisses, like were you the person they kissed? How would you know?
Do you want me to show you the scene because it certainly looks like that?
Okay. Show it to me later. It's more. I guess it's more just the idea of like it's a weird phrase. It's a weird phrase for a
It's
critic.
iconic. It's a meme in that actor's fandom.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Okay. Anywho,
So,
so
what do you
the thing,
think?
I think it's hilarious,
Mhm.
but
It's the scene. It's the scene and also the meme at the same time. We'll put it on screen for everyone to see it.
It
So
is.
it's the scene. It's that scene. That's the exact same thing that happened. And Crowley said, "Tell me you said no twice." I don't know if Neil was inspired by it, but god damn, it fits so well.
sometimes things just walk out. So that entire fight between the two, heartbreaking, and then this kid is like, yes, but then it's like, ugh, my heart.
It
And
was such a roller coaster because I was going up and down from he's gonna say yes, he's gonna say no, he's gonna say yes, he's gonna say no.
I kind of figured he would say no. And honestly, if I have to choose, right, I see both sides, right? But it's like if
I
I had to
did
choose,
too.
but if I had to choose, I would say I'm more on Team Crowley in this case. But I totally get Aziraphale's sides too.
Well, no, like
Can I bring up the coffee now?
oh, 1 second.
Yes.
Because
Hold on.
okay.
I really enjoy it too because like you can see both sides, but also you can definitely tell, right? It's still Aziraphale not quite getting what it is, right, that Crowley actually wants. And that is partially Crowley's fault, right? Because as Nina and Maggie point out to him, he just doesn't talk about his feelings all that much to Aziraphale. So Aziraphale was never able to really tell what Crowley wanted, right?
And you can also tell, after the kiss that he's like, what just happened? Did that happen? How? What? Huh?
Mm-hmm. And I love, right, that the first time...
The stuttering was just...
Absolutely, yes.
The way Michael was just tears in his eyes and trembling from every inch of his body. It was just, my God, I didn't know he could do that.
But also, right, like the first time Crowley decides, like, hey, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to say what I really feel, right, is the first time Aziraphale really comes out and says, hey, I've got something that I think we both wanted, and it's not what Crowley wanted, right? But Aziraphale thought that it was, because it's what Aziraphale wanted, and I mean, Crowley should definitely want this.
It's also what
so
Crowley implied
that he wanted, yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Because if you remember in season 1, I don't know if it was in the scenes in the flashback or anything else, but I remember that he said he didn't mean to fall. He just hung around wrong people or something like that. And he was saying that to Aziraphale. And that implies that he didn't want to be a demon. And I'm pretty sure he said like 5 times that he didn't want to be a demon, but I remember that at least once he told Aziraphale that.
He's definitely said it around Aziraphale more than once, which again, right, because he never talks about what he actually wanted or wants and everything. It's so well done. It's a great scene, right?
Yes.
And I wouldn't have it any other way, even though it broke my heart, literally and metaphorically. And thank you, Neil. Please do it again. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't want them to end up at the end of the second season. I want if I say I want the drama, I sound like a bitch, but you know what I mean.
Hey, we all love angst.
Yes. You imagine how much satisfying the end of the third season will be with this in place. Because in the first season, I was like, oh yeah, they're cute. I mean, I liked the pair, but I wasn't invested, and now I'm obsessed. So, again, thank you, Neil. Please do it again.
Yeah, and I think he knew that what he was doing, because of course the credits for this season would be probably driving away and Aziraphale taking the elevator up while the credits play, and both of them look very sad and confused and stuff. It's like, yes, ram it into the ground.
Aziraphale was smiling in that scene. What are you talking about?
Well,
he's sad on the inside.
I wasn't seeing clearly through the tears. Thank you very much.
He wasn't smiling, like fully smiling like he usually smiles with Crowley, but he was at least grinding a bit, which brings me back to the coffee. If you guys would let me bring it up.
You brought it up. We should a little bit of lead in before you go straight into it.
Yes.
You mentioned that a couple of people have been talking around and sharing things that, like, maybe something's not right here, and leading into it.
Okay, let me explain everything, because the coffee isn't the only thing. It's not the only clue, as Aziraphale would put it. So in the scene where the Metatron gives Aziraphale the coffee, you can very faintly hear the miracle sound effect just as Aziraphale takes the coffee to drink it. So a lot of people assumed that the Metatron did something to that coffee, therefore did something to Aziraphale. We don't know what, and we don't know why. I don't want to get into any more theories, because they're, theories, not facts. But there's also a few other things to point out. For example, when the Metatron takes Aziraphale out, he gives Crowley a very ugly look. The camera focuses on it, and there's dramatic music playing over. Why would there be dramatic music playing over that scene? Explain to me. Riddle me this.
I guess you do make a good point. The thing is, it is hard to say right now when we don't know where things are going, right? You are making a lot of sense, and I see your point, but it's also a matter of let's see where this goes before I make a final judgment.
It's one of those things
Because
where we'll have to wait and see.
yeah,
4 years.
and it's and it's
I
a lot
remind
is
you, we
also
have to wait 4 years for this, guys.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
yes.
Well, I've waited longer for I waited longer for answers, so I'm ready.
True.
I'm ready for this.
But
But what I
Yes.
mean
I
more,
like the theory, though.
is that I think Tauriel
It's
has a
not
good
the
point.
theory. I didn't say the theories. The theories are the things that people say on the internet. I just presented the
Oh, no,
facts.
no, no.
This happened in the episode.
I like it, though,
I
right? Like,
didn't say any theory.
Yeah,
I
no.
just
fair.
said that the sound effect was there, and then the
What
stare, and then the music. That's it.
what
I'm not
I
assuming
know.
anything.
I know.
I like the
I know. I'm
implication.
not discrediting it. I'm just saying, as long as until the point where it's 100% confirmed, they might just be playing with us.
Which is fair. Again, like anything can come from this
Fine.
potentially, but I like the implications that it provides, and I like it, everything Toriel mentions. I like the idea, right? Like I like where it may be headed.
Yeah, definitely. It's
You
I
want to
like the
know the
idea too.
theories? Do you really want to know the theories behind this?
I assume
Why
that there's
the
going to be a lot.
Metatron is doing this? Do you really
Yeah.
want to know what people think might happen?
Sure.
What?
Because
can get into
again,
it.
I've been on Twitter for the past 24 hours. I've seen
You
every
full
single
full
theory
soul,
possible.
but
Oh no, I don't mind. I don't mind the changes that much if that's what.
okay.
It's
Oh,
not
and
Twitter
by the
anymore.
way,
It's X.
I lost it. Fuck you. It's Twitter. By the way, it was mentioned
Fair.
in the graveyard episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Aziraphale took someone else's phone and mentioned Twitter. I just lost it. I couldn't.
Yeah, I was actually thinking like, that's actually something funny that as I was watching it, I'm like, oh Neil, you poor thing, you had no idea that they were gonna change the name as soon as you were going to launch the
That's
show.
true. That's true. Like the
Do you
day
want to know?
before. Holy shit, that is true. Wow.
Do you want to know what Neil said to that?
What do you
Because
say?
someone did ask him about that.
Hit me. I want to know.
Hold on, I have to search his Tumblr real quick to say the exact words. So you talk until then,
Okay, so by the
because
time
I want to say the exact words.
well, so until Toriel finds this, at least we can bring up that after Aziraphale agrees to take on the position of the head of heaven, and the Matrion tells him that that the first thing he needs to take care of is the second coming.
Mhm.
Now we don't know. There's no official confirmation yet, unless Neil said something. I am not sure.
No,
Things could change or something, but I think the clearest implication is that they're talking about the second coming of Christ.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the assumption, yes.
And also because again we see Jesus' crucifixion in the first season, so at least the prep there's something weird that's happening in the first season. So there is a lot of potential for this, but I also feel something about this feel a bit too easy to do, or at least very too close to home for some people to actually do, because Good Omens received some criticism for some of the content in the first season, right? So I think outright touching on the subject of Jesus is really treading some water, but at the same time I kind of want to see what they have planned for this, if this is the direction they're going for.
As someone,
you know what?
you know,
You know what? I actually thought it was the second coming of the Antichrist.
also
Mhm.
possible, which would be interesting. Like,
Also possible, but then didn't we already do that?
I mean, yeah,
Nah,
but you could
but
do
they
it
were
again.
talking about the second Armageddon. So what?
True.
Those. By the way, I found the Tumblr response if you want to hear it.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So somebody sent Neil a screenshot with the scene and should I ask or not? And Neil replies, I know, I thought Twitter would still be a thing by the time season 2 was broadcast.
Fair. Very fair.
Oh,
Poor Neil.
in a
Guy.
way, it still is. It's just
I
only
mean-
went through a name change that nobody fucking cares about.
Yeah, let's be honest. No one cares about the name X.
There are like 3 companies in my country that are already called X, so I cannot legally refer to it as X, especially since one of them is porn stuff.
True.
And,
Yeah.
oh
And
my
so what is it? What are your 3 favorite companies? X.
there's one for I think cosmetics or makeup or something, and one is a singing competition.
Ah. Oh yeah,
And
the
they're all
X Factor. Yeah, we have that too.
Yeah. But it's still, marketed with the X, even though we call it X Factor. The
Yeah, no, the X
X
is like
is
like
is
it's
the
that.
logo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the logo like that they use to advertise it. Yeah, I get you. So
So
anyway,
fuck Elon. Let's move
back to
on.
the thing. I don't really have much else to say besides the fact that it might be 4 years, but you know what? I'm excited. Bring
No,
me
I-
season 3.
I do have some things to say.
Yeah, I just said this is what I have. You go. I know you have a lot more.
Okay, so, and you might have noticed this, you might not, we'll see. But throughout the entire season, when Crowley is in the bookshop, he takes his glasses off. And in the final scene, just as Aziraphale, I don't want to say rejects him, but says that he wants to go to heaven and stuff, that's when he puts the glasses on inside the bookshop for the first time.
Yeah.
That's one thing I want to say. Second thing, the Nightingale thing, because the first season ended with the Nightingale shot and the song that Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square, I think it's called.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Crowley was like, hear that? No Nightingale. And I was like, why would you do this to me, Neil?
Because he knows us.
There was no reason for that. Also, by the way, there was a clock ticking in the background, and I thought Crowley was referring to that, and I'm stupid. But anyway, why would you do this
Same.
to
I
us,
did too
Neil?
for a minute. That's what I thought as well. You're not alone.
I thought Crowley would say something, the clock is ticking and our time is over, or something dramatic. About the
I was
time.
thinking,
I was
especially
like, no, please, no,
considering
please, no.
like
And
he can freeze time as well, stuff like
Yes.
that. I was thinking the clock too. So you're not alone.
Thank you. And then there's a song by Queen that should have played out during the credits. And by should have, I mean shouldn't have, because it would have broken everyone. You know how this season we didn't really have any Queen songs?
Mm-hmm.
We had Bohemian Rhapsody in the background and then Loverboy on Crowley's radio. And that was it. But there's the song by Queen called Love of My Life, and holy shit, I'm fairly certain that Neil made the ending fit the song, because listen to this. Love of my life, you've hurt me, you've broken my heart, and now you leave me. Love of my life, can't you see? Bring it back, don't take it away from me, because you don't know what it means to me.
Yeah, that's
Neil, if I find out that you made this after the Queen song, because we know you like Queen, we understood that from the first season, and the fact that this wasn't playing during the credits is just merciful at this point.
No, I think he knew. He has the sway.
But imagine if this was the credit song, how much broken we would be.
More than we are right now.
Yes. But
So
at the
anything
same
anything
time,
else
thank you, Neil.
to
Please do it again in
Yeah.
4 years.
No, very
yeah,
fair.
for in 4 years time.
Speaking
So
to,
Yeah.
to end us off, right? Speaking to the ending in general, I find it very interesting that we went from season one, very much kind of a solid ending where, hey, it feels done, right? To this ending where, okay, things are happening and we don't really get a conclusion to that yet, right?
it's usually this thing that because I think usually right if it was this for for this show or not it's a different story but
Mhm,
I think usually for a season and also because this is season two
mhm.
also kind of goes beyond the book because season one was the book.
Yes, fair, fair.
So I
Yeah.
think for season one they kind of knew okay we have a book, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna do it, end of story. Now that and because I think they also didn't really know if they were gonna get picked up
True, true.
for another season.
No, but like,
Yes.
Now that they were, and you see a lot of shows do this. That like season one
true.
might they might have the small teeny tiny bit of a cliffhanger-ish to set things up, but usually season one is kind of self-contained.
Mhm.
And then season two actually starts going like, okay, we're in this, we are the second act, we're gonna become bigger, we're gonna continue the story, we're gonna be bigger. So they start ending on cliffhanger so that there will be something to hook you into the third season.
Mhm. But
I
This is a
it's
bit different though,
yeah, I was
because
gonna
Neil
say
said that the whole story is just 3 seasons and that's it. There's not going to be a fourth season, no matter how much
Yeah,
Amazon
so in a
asks for
way,
it.
this is the second act, and
but
the
Yeah.
second act always leads to the third one.
true.
So in a
But
way,
what
And it's also because the first season Neil made as a promise to Terry Pratchett
Mhm,
before he died.
mm,
yeah,
Because
very fair.
Terry did want an adaptation of the Good Omens book,
Mhm,
and he made Neil promise that he would do that one day.
yeah,
And Neil, while working on the first season, realized that he could bring the work that they hadn't put on page. You know, what I was talking about last time, that would be
yeah,
the
the
story of season 3,
mhm,
and this is the bridge. So
mhm,
this
yes.
season was all Neil, but the next season will also be half Terry.
which is
So
good.
I mean, all the best. Let's all 4 years. I'm ready
Yeah,
to
like
wait.
this season definitely left me a lot more interested than the first season did, right? Like first season, it was good. I enjoyed it. But this season definitely got me much more interested and much more willing to be like, all right, yeah, Hollywood, fix your shit. Let's go. I want season 3.
Yeah.
yes,
Fix it,
it's
and
like
they better fix their shit because there's a lot of good stuff that just stuck now. Like they just announced a few hours ago that Beyond the Spider Verse is just delayed indefinitely
Yes.
until this entire thing ends. So Hollywood, move your ass and pay
yeah, and
and pay
I'm
up.
also waiting on Shadow and Bone, which is stuck in the same way as Good Omens between season 2 and season 3. And
Oh
Netflix
damn.
said that they wouldn't renew or cancel it before the strike ends.
Mm.
And I'm like,
Mm.
God damn.
Yeah,
Because that's
a
a bit
lot
more
of stuff.
complicated, but the showrunner for that show is the big boss for the writers. So the showrunner for that show is the one who negotiates with Hollywood. So they
Mm.
cannot cancel or renew the show because either way, there will be
All the luck to
backlash.
then good luck to the writer in this
Yeah.
case. I haven't watched the show, but fingers
I,
crossed.
I recommend it. I don't know how much, but I would recommend it. The first season is very good. The second season is a bit, and it's why I was a bit afraid for the Good Omens second season, because it came out this year as well. So I was like, oh no, please don't have Good Omens 2 follow the same thing, because they try to put too much into too little, if that makes sense.
I think
Yeah.
everyone here would agree. They, at the very
No,
least,
not for Good Omens,
hit
not for
a.
Good Omens,
Oh no.
for the other show.
No, that's fair. I think right, Good Omens though, in looking at it now, I think everyone here would agree. Good Omens, they nailed it, right?
Yes, this is one of the best second parts. I wouldn't say necessarily season, because this also applies to films. But Good Omens season 2 is one of the best second parts, second installment of something I've seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. It's
because
definitely
usually, if the first season is good, usually, or the first film in a series is good, the second one cannot live up to it. And most of the time, even if the second thing is good, it will still be regarded as worse than the first one. And I'm glad Good Omens isn't the case. I am so glad. Thank you, Neil. Do it again. Please, I beg you.
Let's hope we will do it again. But until this point, I think that's all for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What did you think about Good Omens Season 2? What do you want to see in Season 3? You can tell us all about it in the comment section below, on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team, and on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C. Tauriel, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, I already mentioned Tumblr and Twitter, so.
Yeah.
I also have a YouTube channel, but please don't go there. Please.
Links to the relevant pages will be in the description. So, that being said, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And I was Tauriel.
And we will see you all next time. Take care, and may all the good omens be with you.
Bye-bye.